Welcome to another edition of Trash Talk. And sooner or later we were going to get around to talking about sex.
Well, you know what? We hired Tiffany and she's used to it. So. I mean, what are you gonna do? I knew there was a reason she was here. I knew it.
Yeah, and she was the one that suggested the show.
A shocker.
Yes. She says,
Well, you know what? Her old job down in Oak Cliff, this is an upgrade.
yeah, and she was determined eventually to throw us under the bus. So she
True story.
she said this is the one. So we're going to talk about sex education here, folks.
Yeah, great.
And for those that say, "Whoop, wait a minute, I got kids in the house,"
You
may
better
want
clear
to,
them.
yeah, either put them in another room, or you may want to just join us later when it's a
Yeah,
better.
or maybe sit them down with a juice box and let them go to town. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, or let
I'm
them
not.
listen.
I'm not. They're not my kids.
Or let them listen to us, because I mean, what could we possibly tell them that they probably don't already know anyway?
Yeah, look, if they got a TikTok account, chances are they know more than you do anyway. So,
Right. Exactly. Well, that's like I think I remember once a father saying to his son, son, I think it's time maybe we had that talk about sex, and the son says, "What do you want to know, Dad?"
it's true. Well, and that's just it. Like we're in a different time than when we were younger and everything. So I don't even know. I don't even know I don't even know what they talk about in school. I have no idea. Do schools even acknowledge it anymore? Or they just focus on
They,
how babies are made as far as the cellular goes? I don't know what they talk about.
yeah,
I really
the
don't.
medical side, they show movies. You know
Oh,
that
really?
that way it kind of gets not those movies,
Wait, I didn't know they could do that.
but it kind of lets the teacher off the hook.
I
So
bet
the
it
kid
does.
doesn't go home and say, "Oh, the teacher talked to us today about genitals," and
Right.
what in the school that I'm paying for? No, they just put a video on and it talks
Yeah,
about,
but
you know,
we used to have to be separated.
the boys would have their class and the girls would have their class.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
would have a start where we join together, then we'd separate and they talk about all of our stuff and what's going on in the basement and everything.
right.
And then the girls would talk about their mess, and then they'd bring us back together. And then we were all really confused. And then we just go ahead and learned on the streets.
I was just going to say, yeah, the boys had their class, the girls had their class, and then they would get back together in class and they'd say to each other, "Hey, let's meet out at the playground after school, and we'll talk about this." And in my day, they didn't even have those films and everything. We learned in the back of a Buick.
Yeah, that's it. So they get the girls and the guys together, and I'd be like, we're going to try diagram 4.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Smith was talking about this. I want to see what's going on with that.
Right, right. I mean, and the one fun thing that the guys would always say when they were talking about it a little bit later, when they were teaching it co-ed, uh, you'd always sit in your seat and you'd kind of be looking around the room to see which girls were sitting there going,
Yeah, right.
"Yeah." You say, "Oh, yeah, she knows all about this. Let's see, I gotta check that out." The ones who are sitting like this, or we're going like this,
Right.
stay away from them.
Well, then you'd always have those kids that their parents opted out. They're back in the day, their parents were like, no, we don't want. So then you're like, well, where's Charlie? And you're like, Charlie's at the principal's office, not learning. I always wondered what happened to Charlie. Like, did his parents teach him, or is he 40 years old trying to figure it out still?
Now, he's a priest.
Well, then he probably figured it out.
Well, one of the things that came to mind is at what age do you start teaching kids about the birds and the bees?
I think it's younger than when we were now. I think it has to be almost because of social media. I mean, look, sex sells. Sex sells. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with it. There's some stuff I do agree with the marketing, but I don't. Shockingly enough, I don't agree with it. When I see these young, mostly girls, but it's also boys, when I see them, what they're doing on social media, what marketing is catering to them, the acceptance of it, and how, they're growing faster or pretending to grow fast. It's not okay. So I think you got to teach them younger. You got to start younger.
Well,
You got to start talking about it. I mean, look, my son is 3.5, and I'm not saying we're having the sex talk, but we're talking about all kinds of parts already because he's seen it all, and he's confused on, not confused, but he knows what a girl has and what a boy has. And I got to talk to him about that. And I got to talk to him about how we don't talk about that, and not to other people. Keep it in the family,
And,
It's a hard thing. And he's 3.5. By the time he's 5, I'm going to have to talk to him about condoms.
and a 3.5 answers why. To everything you say, why? Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Because girls are like this. Why? But it is being taught at the elementary school level. Now, in my day, it was high school. It
I
was
think ours was middle school. I think ours was middle. I remember a little bit in 5th grade. I definitely remember 6th grade.
yeah, and I think in Kentucky or Tennessee or something, it's at about 8.
Well, they're all related anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
But I threw that one out there, and you just grabbed it.
but 5th grade, I think about 5th grade, and I mean, I'm sure there's probably some family that's watching this doesn't want to hear it if you don't change it. But I remember 5th grade, we were already playing, 5 minutes in the closet and spin the bottle. So
Five
I know
minutes.
this.
5 minutes in the closet.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I spin the bottle. I know, but what's 5 minutes in the closet?
well, it's a part of spin the bottle game. I mean, granted, it's been, some years since I played 5 minutes in the closet.
Yeah, see, spin the bottle in my day. Spin the bottle. That was a kiss.
Well, it's the same thing. But then if you landed on, if you landed on, I don't know if that person, again, you went to 5 minutes in the closet, which really, really at that level, maybe a couple kisses.
I know what a little bit of exploratory science there.
Yes, there was a little bit of, I'm gonna, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's about it. I got a really bad story. I'm not gonna get too details or say names, but there was a 5 minute in the closet that we played in school, in the classroom, when we had recess inside because it was pouring rain.
So,
Yeah.
and is that when you started when people started putting neckties and things over the door handle to let them
No,
know?
because then when they knew about it, we had to be secretive.
So-
Of course, now if I talked about that, that's an episode of Law and Order. I don't know.
Well, and now, gosh, in the schools they have unisex bathrooms. So
Yeah, do they? Is that in every school? I mean,
I think they're starting to do it. The schools that allow it now, but I mean, if you're going to have a unisex bathroom, then you don't need the 5 minutes in the closet. You can just go to the bathroom.
you might as well put a couch in there.
Right. A widescreen TV.
Right, some water, air freshener. Jesus. Oh,
Oh, bro.
we're getting canceled.
Yeah,
It's over.
you can you hear the wheels turning right now? Say you guys, it was a nice show while it lasted, but
Yeah, you made it to 2. You
Gone.
made it to season 2. I think season 2. It might be season 3, but season 2. And you guys got to get the hell out of here. I do think it's important, though, if I can try to be serious. Probably not. I do
I'll give
think
you 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute of serious.
I think it's important for parents, even though kids don't want to talk to their parents about it. I don't care. I think it's important for them to lay the groundwork to open the communication door. You
No,
know,
you're right, and it probably should be more of a parent's responsibility than
it
a
is.
teacher's responsibility. I
I
think
agree.
there's probably too many parents that just say, "Oh, you're going to learn about it in school, so I don't have
Right.
to worry about it."
But they don't. You know, the problem is if they call it sex education. Well, they don't even call it sex education anymore. You know, it's like development or whatever. So they focus on, again, the science part with the embryo and the baby and the sperm and all that crap.
Right.
But there's a kids have a lot of questions leading up to that. And that is something that, number one, parents got to kind of be ready to handle, or at least, again, lay the groundwork for. But there's got to be somewhere where those kids can go besides YouTube, you know, or this show. So,
Right. Right. Or the back of the Buick.
right. Yeah. You know, I mean, you're not going to,
Well,
you're not
actually,
getting, you know,
I went to a very, very small high school. In fact, they used the same vehicle for both sex education and driver's education.
well, that's disgusting.
That paints a real strange image, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it does, especially under ultraviolet light. It does.
Yeah, right.
You know, so yeah, but that's the thing. Otherwise, you know, I mean, and there are some things, no matter what a parent can do, a teacher can do, you know, whatever YouTube can do, there's just things that they're just going to figure out on their own. But, you know, it's like giving them directions to a location on a, like they're trying to drive to a restaurant. You know, give them the name of the restaurant, give them a roadmap, and just hope for the best.
Right, right. You know, and plus, you know, we talk about, wow, you know, they're starting to teach sex education now to 9, 10, 11-year olds. You know, listen to some of the music that the kids are listening to. The lyrics
Oh, forget it.
have just gotten bizarre. And the kids pick up on that real quick, and all of a sudden they're mouthing the lyrics to these rap songs, whether they understand the connotation and the innuendo from those lyrics or not. They learn it, and they learn it very, very young.
Well, and if they're hearing a word, whether it be slang or real, and they're singing it, and they're not sure what it is, sooner or later they're not gonna ask somebody, they're gonna look it up. But once you start going to that rabbit hole, you're in a different element. And the reality is, some of these 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds, as much as we want to not talk about it, they're in a position and they're doing things that 9 and 10-year-olds should not be doing anyway. If we're ignoring that, we're creating a whole problem, a big problem.
Well, that's right. Plus social media. What we're doing you know, unless you're controlling what your child
Right.
is tuned into on their computers, they've got access to an awful lot of bad stuff.
Oh my God.
And you know, because you are involved in a foundation for sex trafficking.
It's bad.
And it is so much worse than even most of us know and can comprehend and absorb.
and not to go off on that, but so Facebook alone in 2020 was responsible for 59% of online human trafficking cases. 59%, just Facebook. That's not talking about Instagram, Twitter,
Right.
WhatsApp, TikTok. And Facebook, mind you, who owns Instagram, wants to come out with a kid's Instagram just for children. If they can't even keep track and regulate what's going on their regular Facebook, why in the world would we ever want something for children? That's a whole nother subject. But the reality is, it puts these kids in a very volatile and dangerous situation. I've got some pretty bad horror stories. I'm not going to get into it now, but I've got some really bad horror stories about that.
And it all goes back to what we've said very often on some of our shows and everything. That iPad or that computer has become like a babysitter. and all. And so when a child gets in trouble for anything related to this stuff, uh, it's like the parents go, "Well, I didn't know. I didn't teach him that." Well, it's because you left them alone and didn't monitor
Right.
what they're doing, and so they absorbed it. They absorbed it either in conversation at school, or they absorbed it by searching the web.
That's all they have to do. And it's younger and younger and younger nowadays that the kids are going and finding themselves in that predicament or in that situation. It is our job as adults and parents to look. I'm not some, ultra conservative dude who's like, don't watch this. I'm not that guy, but you got to be prepared to answer those questions and not pawn it off and not give the generic answer. You got to be prepared to get into some deep conversations when they're ready to talk, because if you don't do that and you ignore them when they're ready to talk, they're never going to talk to you about it, and now you got to go somewhere else. So
And take on the responsibility yourself. Don't pawn it off on somebody else, because
no.
you don't want to be playing cleanup. You're better off being the offense than the defense, and
Right.
being a part of that child's life. And keep in mind, moms and dads, your daughters, get to them first, because girls become a little bit more curious and active and all than boys do. And you got to start at a little bit earlier age.
It's true. It's true. And unfortunately, I don't care how equal we want to talk about how the world is. It's just not. So the reality is, things that, and again, I'm not saying it can't happen to boys at all. That's not what I'm saying. But girls are, they make up the higher percentage in some of these situations with not just trafficking, but sexual assault and crime and rape. And,
Right.
you don't want to be in that situation, and you don't want to have that. And it's so hard nowadays to protect your kids and protect those that you love anyway. You got to give them as much ammunition as possible.
Yep.
Plus, I mean, do you really want to be a grandparent at, that young? I don't.
No. There's no reason to be a grandparent at age 30.
Yeah, I swear to God, if I'm 50 and I'm a grandparent, I'm gonna be pissed. Somebody's gonna get their butt kicked. That's all I know.
That's right. Well, we have tried to tackle a touchy subject.
Literally. Get me out of here. I gotta go. Get me out of here.
Yeah, wasn't it Bob Seger that wrote the words or something to Night Moves, or
Yes.
something about the old trusty woods?
Good old Michigan Bob Seger, baby.
Yep. But we first of all want to thank our sponsors and all. Irving Chung, who is at bigconsideration.com.
Yes.
He is a franchise guru, knows everything there is to know about franchising. And again, our good friends over at the Patriot Sandwich Company, David Jordan and his gang over there, making just the most incredible sandwiches you have ever wrapped your lips around. And that's not a sex education connotation there, but
I didn't
just
say anything.
you just go get yourself a great sandwich.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank our sponsors too. It's been great while you've been sponsoring us. I know we just lost you, so
But come on back. And now we're
But maybe,
now we're going to wait this week. We're going to wait this week to see if there's anybody else that writes in and says, "Hey, you going to do another show about sex education?"
maybe Sarah Secret will join us. I don't know.
There you go. Well, we hope you'll join us again next week when we get into another discussion of whatever we decide we're going to talk about at that time. But go out and make it a good one.
See you later, guys.